What's this week been like for you?
Yeah, obviously a change in terms of scheduling, in terms of just obviously everything that's been going on. But our jobs as coaches is to adapt and obviously move on. We have to get ready to play a game here very soon against a really good opponent in the Green Bay Packers. So challenging, but that's our job to rise to the challenge.
What issues was Jamie having in Chicago?
It
was a windy day, but
yeah, and it's nothing necessarily that we didn't foresee the weather being an issue. Obviously, going into Chicago, you're always ready for that, and then we had trained in weather that was actually going to be similar. But the nature of it is we got to execute better. Part of windy days controls your drop a little bit more. So in terms of punting, holding onto the ball a little bit longer, that would allow you to hit more pure of contact to make sure that miss hit towards the end of the game doesn't happen. And then on kickoff, obviously when the conditions are windy and it's cold and that ball's not going to fly more, what's more intentional has got to be hitting the sweet spot of the football. And I know Jamie wants to be better. We got to be better. And that's something that we will moving forward.
Schematically, with a different head coach, is there a demand for, significance? I guess significance is probably not the right word, but a decent amount of changes, or is it just like, hey, we're on short time here, let's kind of stick to what we've been doing?
From that standpoint, our special team system, has been in place, and every week you always are adding different wrinkles. So that's always ever evolving, and I think the nature of it is, regardless of the change or not, the players have to be confident in the system that they're running, and a lot of that deals with going into this next week with the fundamentals, the technique, the base schemes of what we've done in the past. And we've had success on special teams, had some blemishes here and there across a couple games, but for the most part, I'm happy with where our guys are at. And I think we obviously got to continue to work and continue to play consistent football. And again, big challenge this week against the Packers.
What happened in Youngway?
I think he kicked really well during the game. He kicked really well yesterday as well. So excited to see him continue with more reps. That comfort with Jamie and Casey. But he's excited. He's a guy that obviously, as a true pro, was, not necessarily waiting for his opportunity, but ready for his opportunity when it presented itself, and I felt like he took advantage of that.
Did he get hurt on that tackle on the last kickoff?
No, I mean he like the nature of it is like he got in on a tackle, but he was fine. I'm sorry. I mean there was like a big gust of wind right there that you just saw that whole thing blow over. All right, but no, he kicked really well yesterday, and we don't necessarily always want our kicker getting active in on the tackles, but Koo is a guy that doesn't shy away from anything. The toughness of any football player is embodied by him, regardless of the position that he plays.
You bring him over to the stadium yesterday, and
Yep. Yeah.
Like, what's your thought process on that? Like, when do you pick and choose? Like, you don't do that all the time. Like, how do you fly and?
Yeah.
What's the thought process behind it?
So yesterday was obviously a windy day. Projected weather come Sunday is going to call for some wind. Could that die down? Absolutely. But on the 2 days that he's projected to kicking, felt that it would be a good idea for him to kick in the stadium. And I know he, in his career, he's always wanted to kick in the stadium. There's something to be said about the depth perception when you're in that stadium. The backdrop is different. So feeling how far a 45-yard field goal or 52-yard field goal feels different out here than it does in the stadium, just based off of the way the bleachers are set. And every stadium is unique in that sense. Realistically, you'd love to kick in every stadium before you actually kick in it. But that's where having a veteran like Koo, who has kicked in stadiums across the league, helps. But obviously, this being our home turf, he wants to make sure that he treats it like his home turf. And any opportunity we get to make him feel comfortable in that stadium, we will.
When we talked to Graham, he was pretty, confident he wouldn't need to go on IR again. Did it get worse? You obviously didn't IR him before last game. So what happened?
Yeah, you'll have to ask Calf on that with injuries. The fact of the matter is he was put on IR. I know Graham as a competitor did not want that, and his confidence going into this week was high, but again, can't speak to any of the injuries on that.
You guys brought in Sauls, right? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, Ben Sauls.
What did you like about him? I mean, obviously, you're bringing in another kicker to have here. Is it just a matter of liking his talent, seeing what he has?
Yeah, so coming out in the this draft class, like we always evaluate every specialist coming out, and he was one of the ones that we had ranked pretty high. So get an opportunity to work with him at some point, I think is important. I think he's a young and up-and-coming kicker. The talent is certainly there, and him obviously kicking in weathered conditions is really telling to the success that he could have in this league. Obviously kicking in Pittsburgh in an NFL stadium when the weather is cold, when the wind is prevalent, I think makes his value a lot higher. So excited to work with him, see where he's at. I know it's really new here for him and for us with him. But he's a guy that we've obviously identified early on in the draft process that we're like, this guy has a chance to kick in this league. So when an opportunity presents itself, we'd like to work with him.
Obviously want to address Coach Daboll. Very appreciative of my time with him these past 2 years. Has done a lot for me. Learned a lot from him. Really can't say enough good things about him as a leader and what he's meant to me over these past 2 years, and wish him nothing but the best. There's responsibility that falls on me. We haven't been good enough defensively, particularly closing out games. Something we're working at, evaluating everything, scheme, personnel, different situations, what we can do to continue to improve and find ways to be at our best when it matters most. Find ways to put these players in positions to make plays at critical parts of the game when it matters most. So it's something we're continuing to dive into, continuing to work at. We got to find ways to win these games, not give it up in the fourth quarter. Moving forward here, obviously got a great relationship with Coach Kafka through these past 2 seasons. Excited about the opportunity for him. And again, my focus is doing my best to get our guys in a position to make plays where we can finish these games and perform better defensively when it matters most.
Do you expect any changes to the defense that would be noticeable to the naked eye? I'm not talking about inner workings, but to us new boss, new head coach. You expect anything to be noticeably different with the defense?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be anything drastic. I mean, there's obviously things we need to do a little bit differently. And I think that's obviously game day is most important, but that's throughout the week as well, right? Just the process throughout the week, what that looks like to be able to get us to game day and then be able to go out there and perform on game day. So I don't know if there's going to be anything drastic, but there will be some things that we're adjusting as we go.
What about roster personnel changes? Any changes with the starters that you plan on making?
Right now we're dealing with a bunch of injuries. There's a bunch of guys, so I mean we'll work through that as the week goes and kind of see where that plays out.
What have your conversations been like with Mike? Because he's a new set of eyes at the top. What has he said that he expects to see you change or do better on your end?
Yeah, I mean I'll keep all those conversations private between me and Mike and what we have discussed. But again, the major emphasis for us is finding ways to be at our best when it matters most. At the end of these games, we have leads and doing the best job I can to make sure our players are in situations when the time comes, they can make the plays that are needed to win those games.
Has Mike articulated different ideas on how to do that?
Yes, we'd have conversations about that specifically.
Was there any concern for you, new head coach? Is he gonna, want somebody else to do this? Is he gonna want a different play caller? I've seen other interim coaches make wide-ranging staff changes. Was that a thought for you, or no?
I was focused on controlling what I can control, making sure I'm doing everything I can for these players and to get the results we want and to get the results these players deserve, and being at our best again when it matters most. And that's really where my focus has been here throughout this week.
It's been a pattern now, but do you see any commonalities, I guess, with these fourth quarters? Is it a matter of execution, fatigue, discipline? Are you seeing any commonalities at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think all three of them are a little bit different, just in terms of the situation. I think it's a myriad of things, like you mentioned. Ultimately, it's in these situations you look around the league, and as they come up. I mean, even the end of half ones that have came up at times, right? It's about finding ways to make plays when it matters most. And it starts with me putting them in position to do so where we can. And last week, I mean, you got to give some credit to Caleb too. Like, he made some plays and we didn't. They made the plays and we weren't able to.
Abdul Carter. How much of this is he needs to improve some things, and how much of it is maybe you guys need to scheme up some plays for him to make to get some confidence going?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think it's a combination of both. I do. I mean, he's had 3 sacks taken off the board by penalties, 2 last week. So I think it's a combination of both, just continuing to find ways to utilize him best and where we can put him, where he can be most productive and find some production for us. But I mean, he's battling. He's out there competing every play. Again, those things happen, obviously, with the penalties and the sacks that he had last week. But he continues to work hard, and that's our charge, too, to help him.
How much do you view confidence as something you're managing there also with him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's lacking confidence. I don't. I think he's probably a little discouraged, as all these guys are with where we're at right now. On a unit level and a individual level, and it's something we're working through together to make sure we're getting the things fixed that we need to get fixed. But I mean, I think he's in a good spot. His approach every week has been good. Again, it comes down to our performance and being able to do those things on Sunday.
You should have your secondary closer to, is that fair to say? You should have it closer to full strength?
Yeah, we'll see where Debo's at. I mean, he's still working through here. I think today will be more telling for that. So we'll see kind of where that's at.
How do you think Dexter's played the last couple of weeks, and what more do you look for from him as
Yeah,
the leader of your defense?
I think he's battling in there for us. I do. I think he battles every game just with what he gets, what he sees, the different things teams try to do to him to get 4 hands on him. Just continue to work to improve, to take advantage of the opportunities when they come. Like we ask all these guys, when we get our opportunity, let's do our best to take advantage of it. Continue to lead, right? It's a unique situation right now. Continue to lead these guys. Continue to press on the accountability and everything that comes with it. But happy he's here.
Do you see 2 steps in if Bobby doesn't play from the green dot?
Yeah, so we got some options. You got Flanagan Foles, you got Zaire. Obviously, Neville's played a little bit, so we have some options there. Kind of went through it a little bit early in the year where we were a little limited at that spot. So guys will have some opportunities. They'll be able to step up and play and hopefully make the most of it if that's the case.
Wouldn't go back to a safety? The green dot wouldn't go back to a safety?
No.
You talked about speaking with Mike about the end of game problems. What have you been able to put when you guys talk? Like, what have you talked about? Like, what do you recognize as say that this is the problem? Are you guys wearing down? Is it schematics? How do you guys look at that?
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep the conversations I had with Mike in private. From my point of view, my perspective, again, I think it's a myriad of different things that are showing up. And I got to do a better job finding ways to create some opportunities for these guys to make the plays we need when we need them at those times in the game.
Roles changed a little bit.
A little bit.
What does change for you, like on a weekly basis now? Like, what responsibilities now do you have to handle that maybe you weren't doing before?
Yeah, more involved, with the totality of the game plan. Previously more focused on the run game, right? But now being able to go and figure out how we want to be able to attack opponents in the pass game also, and making sure tying everything together and doing everything we can for Coach Calf to kind of set the table. He's got a little bit more on his plate now too, but trying to take some of the stress off of him from game planning, so we can kind of set the table and he comes into the meeting and kind of knows what we want, and can trim down the menu and make sure we get exactly what he wants the way he wants it.
How about on game days in terms of we know he's still calling the plays, but on game day will you be more actively, I guess maybe like thinking ahead in terms of plays? Like
Yeah. I think when you're on the sideline and whatever the role is, you're always kind of thinking what you can do next to try and help, put some points on the board. Being more involved in that, in-game adjustments, what looks good, what's coming down the pike here in terms of the next series, things along those lines, and making sure our guys are ready to go execute.
Will you move upstairs or will you stay on the sideline?
As far as I know, I'll be on the sideline.
You went through this in 2020 with the in-season coaching change.
Yep.
What lessons do you take from that you can use now?
You got about 10 minutes, right? And then the rest of the league doesn't really care. So it's hard, to take the personal element out of it. But you find out, quickly, like, here we go, Green Bay's coming to town, and they don't really care what we're going through. So got to be able to kind of deal with it in your own way, in your own time, but make sure that you're getting back to neutral so you can go and put together a good plan for the guys so they can go out and win a game in a few days.
What have you seen from the players and how they handled it?
They're ready to go out and win a game. So they're preparing, at a high level. Attention to detail, everything along those lines has stayed the same. So there's really been no dip or anything along those lines. Those guys are ready to go out and play well and win a football game.
What have you seen from Jameis?
From Jameis? You guys saw a little bit yesterday, heard it? I'm not going to break into song, but no, his leadership is off the charts. Really, that whole room, all three of them have done a really good job of leading in their own way with their own style. When you're around him and you see him prepare, he was here last night until God knows when. Making sure he felt good with the game plan and taking input and things along those lines. So he's preparing like the pro he is, and he's getting ready to go out and lead this team.
when Neighbors got hurt, one of the noticeable changes to the offensive line to the offense was the tight ends became much more involved.
Mm-hmm.
Was that something at that time when Neighbors went down that you and Calf could put your heads together and say, hey, like, maybe this is a way we can go forward?
Yeah,
Just trying to say the partnership between you guys.
Sure,
could be
sure,
at the
and
table.
you know, it's everybody. It's everybody up there. You know, it's Shea, it's LB, it's Carm. You know, it's everybody up there. Kind of, what can we do as an offense in our position rooms as a unit to put this team in the best position possible to win a game? So if that means that we're playing a personnel group a little bit more, then, you know, based upon, you know, what it looks like and who's available, then we'll do that. But I think that's just an example of kind of everybody putting their heads together and figuring out what's best for us.
How are you gonna just logistically balance tight end group and anything changes?
Yeah, a little less sleep for me. But that's really it. Like, there's enough time in the day. Just got to figure out what my cadence is going to be, what my rhythm, my routine, to make sure that the guys in the tight end room are as prepared as possible, and making sure that we put together a good plan for the unit.
Sorry. You mentioned that you've been focused on the run game.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of how you guys are running the ball? What do you think needs to get better?
Yeah, I think we, have spurts where it's really good, and, spurts where it's not so good. We need to, and I would say as a unit, we need to be more consistent, right? Because there's times where, we're tough to stop, and then there's other times where it's like, God dang, right? So just making sure that our guys understand the consistency that's needed to win. Unfortunately, we found out the hard way that it takes 60 minutes of good football to win a football game in this league. So continuing to really hammer home that message and make sure everyone's on board with that and understand the amount of detail and focus that we need for the entire game, not just spurts.
This Packers defense doesn't give up a lot of points. Just what are you seeing from them and just kind of how they've been able to execute?
Yeah, I mean, they've got talent on all three levels, right? You look up front, Micah and Gary, their problems on the edge. You see Quay Walker flying around, making a million tackles. They got two really good safeties, two good corners. So, they've got good talent on every level of the defense. They're very well coached. They fly around, they tackle well. They play fundamental football. And schematically, they're hard to get a beat on. So I think when you pair those things, that's the product you get.
When you say very well coached, you're watching the film. How did you tell that?
Detailed in terms of their assignments. You don't see a ton of MEAs. Guys just running free. They're good tacklers. They fly to the football. You know, just those things as you're watching it.
When you first came here, did you know Kafka? Did you know Daboll? Like, what was the origin of you?
Yeah. I'd had a couple conversations at a dinner with Dave's a few years back, and then Kath and I had talked on the phone a couple times, just, you know, touching base, you know, asking about, you know, certain processes and things along those lines. So I would say we knew each other. I wouldn't say it was a close relationship before we got here.
Can you risk not giving Parsons a ton of attention all game?
I mean,
because you want to call things to keep them off balance, but you also don't want to ignore.
Sure, yeah, and I mean, he's as disruptive as a pass rusher and defensive player as we've seen. So, you know, and fortunately for us, I think we have two pretty good tackles, right? So, you know, we're going to have to pick our spots there and do a good job and make sure he doesn't wreck the game, but being smart in terms of making sure we're not compromising either aspect there.
We'll take a couple more if you have them.
Okay, when you look, you obviously you have about 10 minutes before
Mhm.
you could actually get ready for another game and that idea. Can you go in and I mean, some of the voices may change in the room and what you're doing schematically, but is it really what you have set up? Like, what changes in the process for you guys moving forward?
Yeah, I think you know, most of the change will probably occur, you know, behind the scenes in terms of how we put the plan together. You know, there'll be some you know, they'll probably hear my voice in the big room a little bit more than they have throughout the first however many weeks. But it's still the same vision. We're still here to make sure we're putting our guys in the best position possible. It's not there's going to be a dramatic shift in anything. You know, and again, let our guys understand what the plan is, be able to go out there and play fast and really execute at a high level.
Last one.
When you guys are running the ball on the goal line, it seemed like early season, especially with Scatterby, you guys were having success down there punching it in.
Mm-hmm.
When you see now, do you need more direct running, or is it just because it's tighter quarters, more bodies, like one mistake is more costly?
Yeah, I mean, I would say anywhere you have a mistake, it's costly. I think we've been rather efficient down there. Obviously, we'd like to see us be able to punch that one in last week. We got tackled at the half-yard line, whatever, 1 yard line. And then, you know, the backer made a good play on the outside zone. We ran to the right where we ended up losing two, and I think that was a second down play. So yeah, like it's the same though, right? Like it's the ability to maintain that level of focus, play style, attention to detail, no matter where we're at in the game or where we're at on the field. That doesn't change. So we got to be, you know, at the pinnacle of that for as long as we can. And you know, again, like I said, we've figured out the hard way what happens when we don't do that.